5 simple, basic fundamentals of ideas to ponder and think about that will increase your value to the marketplace. Could perhaps, like it did for me, multiply your income by 2, and then multiply it by 3, and then multiply your income by 4, and then by 5. And once you get there, it's not that difficult to multiply it by 10, because all you have to do is make sure you become more valuable and more valuable and more valuable. You don't have to work on the economy, because here's the first note. Each person's income is determined primarily by their philosophy, not by the economy. Once I understood that, then I said, well, I don't have to go to work on the economy. And the answer was no. You only have to go to work on yourself to make yourself more valuable. So now here's 5 things I want to share with you. And the first one is your personal philosophy. What could get you more prepared and ready for cashing in on the opportunity of the 21st century? And here's the first one, personal philosophy. Your personal philosophy is like a guidance system that helps you make decisions what to do, what not to do. From the information you get and what you learn and what you know, we decide. Maybe your philosophy would have been 5 years ago never to attend seminars like this. You just didn't go. Now 5 years later, here you are. Something happened along the way to change your mindset, saying, hey, for the money and the time, if I just get one good idea and walk away, it certainly is worth the money and the time. So now that little amendment in your philosophy, you now say, I'm going to regularly go, because it doesn't take but a few ideas to make a great difference in your income, personal life, social life, and all the rest. So now you know that's valuable. A change of mind, a change of idea. So that's what personal philosophy is all about. The more we learn, the more we know, the better we're able to make better decisions about 2 major things. Your philosophical guidance system does 2 things. For your notes, number 1, helps you to see the dangers on one side so you can avoid those. But here's what else your guidance system does. Personal philosophy helps you to see the opportunities on the other side so that you can expand those, maximize those. And here's what that's called. The game of life is to minimize the dangers and maximize the opportunities. And the more we know and the more we learn, the more experience we gather in sessions like this, from the sermon on Sunday morning to the books we read and all the rest, helps us to keep continually adjusting our philosophical guidance system so that we minimize more dangers, maximize more opportunities. That's really the game of life. I couldn't put it much more simply. So number 1, we're affected by what we know. Personal philosophy. Here's number 2, your attitude. First, we're affected by what we know. When I talk to the kids in high school classes, college classes, that's the first thing I tell them. Get the information while you're here. Right? Nothing worse than being stupid when you get out of school. So get the information. Being broke is bad, but being stupid is what's really bad. And what's really, really bad is being broke and stupid. Nothing much worse than that, unless you're sick. Right? Sick, broke, and stupid. That's about as far as you can fall unless you're ugly, right? But surely that would be the ultimate, right? The ultimate negative life. Ugly, sick, broke, and stupid. So learn all you can. We're affected by what we know, so get the information. Don't be lazy in learning. Don't be lazy in going through the books, building your library, coming to classes like this consistently. Some of them will be so dramatic, your life will never be the same. Maybe this is one of those today. Next, we're affected by how we feel, attitude. This is the emotional part. We need the intellectual part to set sail. So as the winds blow, we can still get where we want to go. Redefine, keep strengthening our psychological and philosophical guidance system. But now we're also affected by the emotions. That's the power. And jot these notes down as I hurry along now. 4 things to consider on attitude and how you feel. Here's number 1. It's how you feel about the past. It's important to make the past useful. past experience, even past losses, past failures, as well as successes. To review it and go back over it, see where you went wrong, correct that, invest that now in the future. Don't live in the past, and don't carry the past around like a burden, but simply use your past as one of your mentors to help refine mistakes, make some changes that you can invest now in the future. Here's the second attitude. It's how you feel about the future. We look back for experience, but number two, we look forward for inspiration. Now, where does the inspiration come from? Looking forward. Here it is, learning to set goals. Number one, decide what you want. It takes more than 5 minutes. Take some time and decide what you want. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do the next 10 years, 20 years? What would you like to become? How many skills would you like to learn? What are the books you want to read? How about the people you want to meet? The cities you want to visit? Experiences you'd like to have over this next period of time? Start thinking about all of that. Here's the next key. Write it all down. Building a life is like building a house. You wouldn't start building the house until you had it finished. Wouldn't you look foolish starting to build the house if it wasn't finished first? What if you were laying bricks and somebody came by and said, "What are you building here?" And you said, "I have no idea." See, they would take you away to a safe place. So building a life is a lot more important than building a house. And yet people treat it so carelessly and so casually about planning and making plans for what they want their life to work out to be. So I'm asking you not to be casual anymore. Start designing the future for yourself, for your family, for your business, for your future. Okay, decide what you want. Okay, so from the past we get experience, from the future we get excitement, inspiration by setting goals. Now here's the next advice. Put everything on your list of goals. Little things, insignificant to someone else, but important to you. A goal list is important. You don't have to publish it in the local newspaper. My Japanese friend, Toro Ikeda, San Jose, California, put on his first list, a Caucasian gardener. Back then everybody had a Japanese gardener. He said, "No, I'm Japanese. I want a Caucasian gardener." I like that. So set goals. Set the goals that'll turn you on, goals that'll get you excited. Put everything on your list. Here's the next attitude. It's very important how you feel about everybody. If you want to be a leader extraordinaire, here's what you learn. Each of us need all of us. One person doesn't make an economy. One person doesn't make a symphony orchestra. It takes all of us for each of us to be successful. Each of us need all of us, and all of us need each of us. Each gift is important as we bring it to the table, as we bring it to the country, as we bring it to the community. Learn to appreciate that. Each of us need all of us. Now here's the last one on attitude. It's how you feel about yourself. Nothing more powerful than self-confidence to start multiplying your income by 2, by 3, by 5, by 10. And where does that come from? Make the note. It comes from self-esteem. Doing the things you know you should do, and at the end of this day, your self-esteem is soaring and high. You've met the people you said you'd meet. You made the calls you said you would make. You did the things that you required of yourself to do, and at the end of the day, you feel great about yourself. That is one of the greatest motivating factors for the future, self-esteem, feeling good about yourself. Now let me give you the miracle piece of this formula. If you're ready, say, "I'm ready." Here it is. Number 3 is activity. We're affected by what we do. Now we've gotten to the formula of how to turn ideas into reality, how to turn imagination into substance. It's called number 3, activity. So add these notes to it now. Activity is the work. Activity is the labor. In fact, labor was so important. Here was the original formula for labor. If you have forgotten it, remind yourself. For your notes, 6 days of labor and what? 1 day of rest. Now it's important not to get those numbers mixed up. Why is that? Here's why. Why not 5-2? I don't know, maybe 5 and 2 would be okay. If God would have thought of 5 and 2, he might have made it 5 and 2. But you can't think of everything when you're putting one of these together. If you rest too long, the weeds take the garden. Not to think so is naive. As soon as you've planted, the busy bugs and the noxious weeds are out to take it. So you can't linger too long in the rest mode. You've got to go back to work. 6 days of work, then rest and spirituality and friendship and change of pace. And then go back over the last 6 days. What did I do? What did I miss? Who did I miss? What happened? So that I can invest those corrections in the next 6 days of higher productivity. Have you got that now? 6 days of work, 1 day of rest. Don't get the numbers mixed up. Activity. Now, activity finishes the miracle. So to turn nothing into something, here's what you do. Imagine the possibilities. That's why we recommend testimonials for someone to say, hey, I started with pennies and I made a fortune. And when they finish, sometimes they say something like this: if I can do it, what? You can do it. And we start imagining the possibilities. Here's number 2, have faith to believe that some of them are possible for you. And both imagination and faith are powerful forces, but we still don't have a hotel. We still don't have a house. Even though those are powerful forces, it is the beginning. Now, imagination and faith must be deposited in activity or it is wasted. But the finishing touch of the miracle process is now, go to work. Go to work and build a better career. Go to work and build good health. You can't have good health without the work. When did we start hearing that phrase? No pain, what? No gain. You got to do the work. You can read all the books until you're wise. You can have faith and believe until it is extraordinary. But now you must go to work. And if you'll learn to appreciate the work that produces the miracle of good health, the miracle of a career, the miracle of a relationship, the miracle of a fortune. Only humans now can do this. The birds of the field can't do it. No other life form can imagine and create something from nothing. Have faith and then build it and make it real. Only humans. It's an extraordinary gift. Depends on how often you use it. Number 4, learn to measure progress. Once you've set up a project now, you want to turn nothing into something, now you must measure your progress. How are you doing? Here's how we teach it to our children. Life expects us to make measurable progress in reasonable time. Measurable progress in reasonable time. That is the game of life. So part of it is not just to set up the proposed project, but as we start working on it, we start measuring how we're doing. Now, first, what is reasonable time? You can't ask someone every 5 minutes, how are you doing now? See, that's too soon. Guy says, I haven't left the building yet. Give me a break. Now, we can't wait 5 years. That's too long. So there's reasonable time. So make this note now. What is reasonable time? 1, at the end of the day. A conversation a father should have with his daughter today, because the magic is there. If he waits till tomorrow, the magic may be gone. Today. Next is a week. Make that note. Usually, we get paid by the week. Somebody adds up our value to the marketplace, out comes the check. The next week, somebody adds up our value to the marketplace, out comes the check. What I learned to do is to change my value to the marketplace so the check kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I didn't have to change the economy, I only had to change my stuff. Measure your own progress. Success is a numbers game. We demanded of our children, how many years do you want your child to spend in 4th grade? Approximately. About 1 year, right? You say, well, if they're nice kids, would you give them 3 or 4 years? You say, no, this is not a nice game. This is getting ready for the future. This is getting ready for the challenges and the opportunities. You can't linger in 1 grade more than 1 year. Now make this note. The same should go for us as adults. Don't linger more than 1 year in one grade of learning. Adult, management, entrepreneurship, leaderships of all kinds. Keep up the pace of learning. The numbers. Measure. Count. Now here's the key. Face the truth. If you're only making this much progress, there's no use trying to kid the world, no use trying to kid anybody else, and especially don't kid yourself. If in a period of time you've only made so much progress, you just got to swallow hard and say, this is the truth. I've got to face it. Now, what could I do to start increasing my progress and make my health better, make my income better, make my investments better, make my value to the marketplace much better, get busy learning the second skill and the third skill and the next language and the next language to increase my value? I got to get busy and do that. See if you will do that. I promise you, one of the greatest motivating factors in the world is progress. And if you'll measure it, you'll get excited. Now here's number 5 of the 5 major things I wanted to share with you to make these opening years of the 21st century really pay off for you. And here's the word, lifestyle. Learning to live well, because the ultimate essence of life is not a Ferrari. The ultimate essence is not a home. The ultimate essence is not a bank account. It's not $1 million. It's not a fortune. Here it is. The ultimate essence of life is learning to live a good life. That's the key. Whether you have modest resources or whether you have mega millions, either way, the real key is learning to live a good life. Productivity. You really won't be that happy if you don't produce. And here's the next bit of advice on that. Produce to the max if you possibly can. To produce a little is okay. To produce enough is okay. To produce some to get by is all right. But why not try productivity to the max? Andrew Carnegie, who built the steel industry back in the 30s, here's what Andrew said. I'm going to spend the first half of my life accumulating money. I'm going to spend the last half of my life giving it all away. He got so inspired by that goal that the first half of his life he accumulated $400 million, which back in the 30s was a lot of money. A mega fortune. Guess what he did the last half of his life? He gave it all away. I got a good question for you as we close. Here's the question. What's got you turned on? What's got you up early? What's got you eager to face the day? What's got you inspired to learn the extra skill, put in the extra time, go the extra mile, learn how to work with people, guarantee your future? Good question.